So I'm going to review a classic today, and when I think classics, I think Alfred Hitchcock. But I've seen most of his movies. I had to go all the way down to number 9 on his most popular list to find one I haven't seen. So 1940s Rebecca. Here we come. Review after the jump cut. The movie opens in Monte Carlo, where Mrs. Van Hopper and her paid traveling companion are sitting in a casino when the world-famous Maximilian de Winters walks by. Mrs. Van Hopper immediately starts hitting on him, and he shows more interest in the companion and his disdain for Mrs. Van Hopper using servants for everything. Despite being the main character in this movie, the traveling companion does not have a name. But she starts a relationship with Max, and they meet through the guise of tennis lessons behind Mrs. Van Hopper's back. Mrs. Van Hopper's sister dies, so she announces to her companion that they both must go to America immediately, but Maximilian has a better idea.
Either you go to America with Mrs. Van Hopper, or you come home to Mandalay with me.
You mean you want a secretary or something?
I'm asking you to marry me, you little fool.
Apparently she says yes because they call Mrs. Van Hopper and invite her to his room to spread the good news. And he apologizes for his proposal technique. Well, kind of. Just watch.
This isn't at all your idea of a proposal, is it? It should be in a conservatory. You in a white frock with a red rose in your hand, and a violin playing in the distance, and I should be making violent love to you behind a palm tree. Poor darling.
Wait a minute, run that one by me again.
And I should be making violent love to you behind a palm tree.
Oh, Maximilian, you sweet talker. They are married, and she is whisked away to his mansion, Mandalay, where she's immediately pawned off on his servants. Remember how he said he doesn't like servants doing everything? Well, that was a lie. He has lots of servants, including Mrs. Danvers. Mrs. Danvers immediately hates her because she is not Rebecca. Rebecca was Max's first wife, who Mrs. Danvers either was or really wanted to be having an affair with, which makes her one of the earliest lesbian characters in major American films. We begin to see her feel more and more isolated. There's scenes of her and him sitting at opposite ends of a long table, and she spends time with the children, which are dogs. Mrs. Danvers goading her the whole way, trying to embarrass her and force her to kill herself. Mrs. Danvers' prodding finally gets to her, and she's about to jump out a window, ending her life when the police show up with news of Rebecca. From here, the movie takes a huge pace turn and goes from a portrait of an isolated woman to a tale of intrigue. And I'm not going to ruin it for you. I know the movie's 70 years old plus, but you should really watch it yourself. That's it for this one. According to the good folks over on IMDb, this is 9th most popular movie and his 5th best movie. It's really good. I really enjoyed this one. This movie starred Laurence Oliver right off of Wuthering Heights. And Joan Fontaine. Oliver did not like Fontaine. He wanted his girlfriend to be in the movie. But Hitchcock took advantage of this and told Fontaine everybody in the movie hated her, which gave her an isolated feeling on set that really carried over to film. The movie is only about 10 years out of the silent era, and because of that, it uses a lot of music and uses it really well. All the transition shots and mood setting is done through music, and you're not going to find many films that do it better than this one. The movie's based on a novel. Almost all of Hitchcock's good stuff, anyways, was based on novels or plays. So when you complain Hollywood doesn't have any original ideas, they didn't have any original ideas in the 40s either. This is a Hollywood film. It's the first Hollywood film that Alfred Hitchcock did, and it's the only one to win Best Picture. As you can tell, I really like this one. Great acting, great mood, great settings. This movie did cost $1 million in 1940, So it's very high budget for the time. They use the money really well. It's acclaimed film, award-winning. What more could you want? So, as always, thank you for watching, and I shall try to do better next time.